Hi, you guys.
Yes.
What's going on?
Sorry, I'm a little bit late.
All right,
It's all good, man.
It might well be my spoiled rock stardom that's invaded my psyche since I was a young man, but it could also just be the crazy circumstances of being a human being.
Yeah, that's a fact too. What you sipping on right now?
I am sipping on a lovely cup of coffee, and I haven't had a coffee. Normally, I have coffee every day, but I haven't had coffee in about 6 days.
Wow.
So this coffee is astronomically good.
Gastronomically delicious.
Astronomically good.
I like that.
Yeah. The reason I if you want the honest truth, the reason I disappeared on you guys last week was because I got a gnarly cold sore on my lip. And I get them sometimes, and it makes me feel terrible. And then when I get them, I can't drink coffee. But now it's gone. I get my coffee. I'm on the show with you guys. I'm happy. Peace and love prevails. And we're going to
always.
Amazing. And you said you were having some crazy jam sessions last week too, right?
Oh, I'm always having jam sessions. Wait, what did I say I was doing? Oh, yeah. I was working hard playing music.
So I got a question for you. Before we get to cooking, we have this other concept that we want to do for the benefit of the world. And we kind of want to have like a pass the beat kind of vibe. So so I was talking to Black Thought from the Roots earlier. He was saying that he's your man.
I love that guy.
We want to work on this project called Food for Thought. So we wanted to like gather a bunch of dope like musicians and kind of do this like pass the beat thing where like, say for instance, someone did a bass line, then someone did a cello, and then we create this vibe, and then we make some music with it.
Food songs.
Food for thought. You do the dishes.
Yeah. Some of the great, it's funny because I was thinking of food songs this morning while we were getting ready to do this, mostly older ones. I was thinking of the song Beans and Cornbread Had a Fight by Louis Jordan.
All right, I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah, and then I was thinking of the song Man Cannot Live by Bread Alone by Junie Morrison, who was the great keyboard player from Parliament Funkadelic and the Ohio Players. And I was also thinking of the song Beans, because I'm preparing today, Beans. And Lightnin' Hopkins, the great blues musician, had a song called Beans. But it's not really a song. He just kind of talks about when he worked in the fields. And the guy, the foreman, used to come and yell out and say, "Beans! Beans!" And they'd all line up to get their beans.
I'm looking.
Also, they got the beans, greens, yams, potatoes, yams, ham, hog, moss.
Yeah.
They got that track too. That's a big one.
Lightning Hopkins, right?
Oh yeah, Lightnin' Hopkins. Yeah, his song Beans, but his isn't really a song. It's because I actually just listened to it. But Louis Jordan, Beans and Cornbread, and a great one really, Bread Alone by Junie Morrison. Man cannot live by bread alone. He needs a helping hand. And on the cover is a picture of him next to these big stacks of bread.
Oh, I got it right
yeah.
here. That's fire. That artwork is crazy.
The artwork is so
yeah. Junie was cool, man.
That's a whole mood right there.
That's really good. That's really good.
Yeah,
enlightening us.
When he left Ohio Players and joined Funkadelic, P-Funk really came up. They really went and made great records after he joined. He was a genius. He was a great musician.
Man, thank you for the gems.
So to death all through the hip hop era.
Oh yeah. What was do you recall your favorite artist that sampled it? Who sampled it the best?
My favorite ones that are sampled?
Mm-hmm.
All the funk stuff that I grew up with, all the great funk stuff. I mean, for me, the big ones, everybody knows P-Funk and James Brown and the Ohio Players. Funky Worm, which is Junie Morrison, that crazy synth sound, and that Dre used it on some great classic early hip hop tracks, and I can't even think of it right now because my mind is not working. But
tell them that you did the bass line for that.
What's up, Mel?
No, Bust a Move.
Oh yeah, tell them.
Melody told me to tell you that I did the bass line for Bust a Move.
Okay.
Oh, fire.
That's fire.
Yo, you the greatest.
That's right.
Fun fact.
Fun fact.
Yo, Mel, you got to keep hitting us with the fun facts all episode.
Not do me right. What? Oh, no, with the record company, they sold like 30 million copies of that record, and they gave me a bag of weed and $20.
Wow.
Oh,
Grease.
damn.
They finesse you.
It was fucked up.
Well, you're doing all right now, so joke's on them.
Well, I always knew that that I had plenty more where that came from.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the key, man. That's the key. So what
That's
we
the
got?
key, because when you're tapping the source from the divine source, it's infinite and it goes forever.
That's a
Food
big
for
fact.
thought. Food for thought.
When you're just looking for a paycheck, that's limited.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
that's like what my meditation was about. I've been doing this Deepak Chopra abundance meditation. It's like just tapping into the laws of abundance, you know.
Awesome.
So
Awesome.
what we got?
How does the meditation work?
Well, it's like you get Deepak talking. It's like it goes with these exercises. Like you do these exercises. So sometimes it might be like write 50 people that inspired you in some way, and then it'll go into after you do the exercise in your notebook. Then you'll go into he'll talk for about 5-6 minutes, and then you'll probably have like a 12-minute guided meditation with a mantra.
I see.
You know?
So it's like meditation and like he's giving a Dharma talk, kind of.
Precisely.
That's
Precisely.
awesome. That's awesome.
So what we got cooking today, Flea?
Well, I'm making black-eyed peas.
Black
All right.
eyed
One of my
fleas.
favorite dishes. And I think, every sculptor and artist, you could take all the greatest artists ever lived, and never could they come up with anything as perfect and as profound as the bean. Within a single bean, right here I have one little black-eyed pea in between my hands. And it is such a perfect bean. It will last forever. It can do so many things. It's flexible. It can take on flavor. You can make anything. I mean, I have like my way that I make them, but you can make soups, stews, all these healthy things. It's got fiber. It's got protein. It's inexpensive. It's nice to cook it. Almost everybody likes it. I even made Melody, show your face, Mel. She's right there.
Yeah.
She's better looking than me. She never even ate beans. She was like, when we got together, she's like, I don't like beans. I don't eat beans. And in my heart, I was like, I don't know if I can be with someone who doesn't eat
He was
beans.
like, I don't know if this is gonna work.
Yeah, this is a problem. This is like a problem. But she actually likes my beans.
Fantastic.
Amazing.
They're great for your kidneys as well. Kidney
Are they
function.
good for your kidneys?
Yeah, absolutely. Usually they say that foods that resemble different organs are actually, that's where they're good for. So like carrots, when you look at a carrot, it's like shaped like an oar, so you know it's good for your eyes, the beta carotene. The beans, they're shaped like your kidneys, so that they're good for your kidney function as well.
Right.
When you think about beets, like the colors, like color of blood, so it's good for your blood flow, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
So
I've heard that as well. There
absolutely.
used to be this, at a certain point in my life, I discovered that what I ate really affected how I thought and how I walked through life. And that the more clean and healthy food I ate, the cleaner and healthier I lived and thought and created and all of those things. Like it just kind of opened up channels for me. And there used to be this macrobiotic restaurant in LA called Anaka, and it was there for like 40 years. It was this beautiful little place with this one little guy who was always back there cooking all day long. And it was macrobiotic food. But one of the things that they served was lotus root. And if you look at lotus root, it has holes in it. And he always said it's really good for your lungs. And he said, look, see the holes in it? Because it's like it lets things go through. And I very similar to what you're saying, that, the openness of the thing would open up your lungs.
Yep, that's right. You are what you eat.
It's all connected. We're all connected with all living things on a molecular level. Shout out to Kat. Kat just tuned in. We're trying to get Kat to get on this too. She's starting on sending us a picture for us to make her flyer. You gotta pull up, Kat. Stop fronting. So I know you've been cooking those beans down for a minute. You want to tell the people your process?
Oh yeah. So I just started off with a box of beans, and they're kind of hard to come by right now. They're not in every store with the whole shutdown thing, but got the beans, soaked them overnight. Now with black eyes, you don't really need to soak them that long. You can soak them for like two hours and it does the job. but I soaked them overnight. Whereas with like a black bean or a kidney bean or other beans, you really need to soak them for like a good 12 hours.
Right, to rehydrate them and get that moisture back inside.
Totally, yeah, yeah, and make them, then they cook better. So I soaked them overnight last night. I put them on this morning. Oh, after soaking, rinsing them after soaking is really important, because if you don't rinse them well, you change your name to Martin because you're going to be farting. That's the whole thing with beans. You gotta really rinse them after you soak them. So, and I'm always like I've forgot to rinse them a couple of times, and it wasn't good.
You added some extra notes to the bass line, some extra funk.
Yeah, no, I was like a rocket ship. There's this great artist that I love called Captain Beefheart, and he has this one song, and it starts, and you hear that, and then you hear this guy in the background go, he goes, I run on beans. I run on laser beams. Anyways, it's a little aside there. It's a funny song.
Gasly.
Yeah, Captain Beefheart is great. It's got mass replica. But so I rinsed the beans. Then I put them in the pot, which is right here. You can have a look. You can see they're in there. I got it on real low right now, even, but they're in there. There's the black eyes, and they're pretty much ready to go because I soaked them for so long. They cooked up real fast. I put them on a couple hours ago. Brought them to a boil. As soon as it came to a boil, I put them on a low simmer, and right now they're just right. And I have a friend named Tree, who's actually the dean of my nonprofit music school, Silver Lake Conservatory of Music. And Tree is, by most of his friends, considered the king of beans. We've always, when we were little, I actually got arrested once and spent the night in jail because he was like, man, I'm making the greatest batch of beans. If you could only pick me up, it's like some spice or something. I went and tried to shoplift it and got busted.
Damn.
And I know, man. I was running down the street. They cornered me. They caught me. It was terrible. But anyways, he told me that when you're making beans, that you never want to spice them or put in any of the vegetables or do anything like that until the beans are cooked. Because you have to wait until they're ready. You could eat them on their own. Then you spice them. So right now they're at that state. We soaked them, we boiled them, we simmered them. They're ready to go. And so now I'm going to start off with what I consider to be the finest salt, which is the Celtic sea salt. I think it's the best salt out there. And I hear it has really good healing powers. I'm not really sure. Like,
full of minerals.
Yeah, it's full of minerals, like really good stuff.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to put, and I like, when I cook beans, I eyeball it. I'm not like, and once in a while I might make them a little bit too salty. So I try to be careful, but we're putting a little salt in there. That seems like a good amount. Get some pepper, grinding up some pepper, putting the pepper in.
That's a nice pepper grinder. Can I see that? That's fine.
Oh yeah, it's pretty good.
Oh yeah, that's sick.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I got a salt pet grinder to match, but I never use it. So that's pretty peppery. Stir the salt and pepper in. The fire might be actually a little bit low. I should get it simmering a little bit. But it's really hot, even though it's not bubbling. It's like the beans. I might have timed this. The beans might have been ready like 20 minutes ago. So salt and pepper in there. Then I'm gonna put a bay leaf.
You got a lot of Brazilians are checking in, and the beans are essential part of the feijoada dish.
Feijoada.
Oh yeah, yes. They really know how to handle a bean in Brazil.
Yes, that's a fact. They sending a lot of love in the comments, so I just wanted to show some love back.
Yeah, I love Brazil. So I'm kind of wondering whether to put 2 bay leaves or 1 bay leaf. What do you think?
I think one is good.
One is good, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Baileys have like a real strong, potent flavor. So like usually like with the amount of beans you have there, one should be all right.
Yeah. And then sometimes I put a little rosemary and either like dried basil and dried thyme a little bit.
Season it up.
Not a lot, just a little bit.
Gotta steeze the day.
Yeah, and I'm not even sure. I don't know a lot about spices and herbs, but whenever I put these in, it always seems to work out well.
Yeah, absolutely.
On the time, but it cooks in, stirs in. It's never too much. Never too much. And one thing Who just walked in the house?
Yo, announce yourself.
Yeah. It's the dogs. The Blizzard and Professor.
What is it? Blizzard and Professor?
Yeah, Blizzard and Professor. Blizzy and Fessy.
What kind of dogs do you have?
Australian Shepherd. You want to meet him?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure the people would love to see a dog right now.
Fessy, come here. Come here, Fessy. Come here, please. Come. Sit. Sit. Be a good dog.
Oh, those are beautiful. Wow.
You are a very good dog, and that's why I love you very much. Yes.
Beautiful dogs.
Took them running up a big mountain yesterday. They're very pleased about it. Yeah. Yeah, they're good. They're like,
there you go.
They protect the house. They're loyal. They're beautiful. They're kind. They're cuddly. They're everything a man wants in a dog.
Yeah, they're cute.
That's
They're
another
cute.
thing. Mel didn't even like dogs when we met. Now she likes dogs.
Wow, man. Mel, you really opened up. Turned a new leaf.
I have to open her up. Okay, so it's all
Mel, what sacrifices has Flea had to make besides eating cookies that taste like soap?
Nothing.
Okay, so
He's,
now one thing that I do not chintz on is the garlic.
Mm.
So yeah, 3 cloves. So I'm getting the garlic going. I'm gonna get the proper knife. I've had these knives for like 25 years.
How do you keep them sharp?
What's that?
How do you keep them sharp?
I don't do anything. They seem to stay pretty good, but I probably should. I probably should sharpen them. So my dad taught me. My dad's a really good cook. I didn't grow up with him. He's in Australia. He taught me that if you crush them just a little bit like this,
Yeah.
that it comes off easy. The skin, what do you call it? The peel.
Yep.
Skin?
Yep. The skin. Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah, the skin comes off easy with a little crush. So I'm de-skinning the garlic, and what I'm gonna do is, once I get the garlic going, I'm gonna get the onions going, and then I'm gonna.
I know that knife. That's a Cutco. That's a vector blade.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yep. Those knives actually do stay sharp forever. They have like a lifetime warranty. My brother used to sell them. They had like a lifetime warranty on them. Like if the blade ever gets dull, you could send that back to them and they'll just send you a new knife.
Wow, I think that's awesome to know. I've had them for so long, and you know what? I'm not gonna chop it real fine because after I do this, I'm just gonna sweat them in the pan.
Yeah.
I'm gonna stick them in the pan, but I'm not gonna really saute them. I'm just gonna sweat them and sweat the onions, and then stick them in.
Right.
Just enough so they open up to release the flavor, but not enough so they're cooked.
Sweat. That's right. Means
right?
release the aromatics. You don't want, it's not color that you're looking for. It's just really to make it translucent.
Exactly. Yeah, just kind of open them, right?
Yes, that's right. Release the flavors, the natural oils, and the sweetness, the natural sweetness inside of all that stuff.
Yeah. Garlic is kind of, that's one thing me and Melody agreed on was garlic from the get-go. That we both really like garlic.
I think connecting and bonding over food is an important part of any friendship.
Oh, man, it really is. It really is. And when you don't connect over food, it's hard.
Absolutely.
Like, people argue about food sometimes. Yeah. We will just straight argue about food.
Because I think it's two schools, right? It's like some people that live to eat and some people that eat to live.
Totally. And also I'm not a good cook, and I'm completely uneducated about cooking. Like I know, you guys really know how to cook, but I love cooking. And the thing is, I've raised 2 kids mostly on my own. I have a 31-year-old daughter, and I have a 14-year-old daughter. And I've, in my simplistic way, without ever really studying or learning, I cook. I've raised 2 kids and cooked for them breakfast, lunch, and dinner their whole lives. And so I've always just kind of figured out how to make a piece of fish, figured out how to do stuff. And
Sometimes in life you got to
kind of
figure
like
it out.
trial and error, you know. So
Absolutely.
let me get the garlic, the carrots, and the celery.
Well, one of the things about food and basically, I mean, most things in life is that, you know, you don't have to have all the background knowledge, but just the more you do it, the more you learn, and you know, you get better with time.
Totally. And also, I just feel like one thing I've learned is that whenever I like, and I guess it applies to anything in life, like, whenever I'm cooking, if my heart is in the right place, like if I'm really if I'm really being thoughtful about it and taking my time with every step and appreciating, like if I'm sitting there by myself, the music doing this is how I normally be doing it, and even just the celery, like just kind of marveling at like this is celery, this is amazing. You know, God grew this out of the earth. It's crispy. It's a beautiful color. You know, the properties that it has, like,
Yeah. Fantastic for your digestive system. Get those bowels working. If you just drink that celery juice, tons of fiber.
Right. Yeah, isn't it just like a big trend with celery juice right now, right?
It's high water content in celery. That's why. So
right.
it's a good yield if you're drinking celery juice.
And Flea, who out of the band, who do you think is the strongest cook in the band?
You know, probably me. I don't really know. Chad cooks it all. You know, Anthony doesn't really cook. He makes breakfasts. You know, they might surprise me and be doing some stuff I don't know about. You know, like John is a wild cook. John Frusciante. You see him like throw a steak around like he's wild.
What sort of things do you guys typically eat when you're together or when you're on tour?
Well, we always, you know, we have a chef with us on tour, and we eat we eat differently. Like Chad, our drummer, he just wants meat. He just wants like give me meat and potatoes. Like he's like this Midwestern meat and potatoes guy, and he's not fucking around. Like don't come at me with some hippie healthy anything. And the rest of us are like super conscious about it. You know, no sugar. I don't eat dairy at all either. So, but those guys will eat dairy products. But oftentimes they won't want it because of their voices. I don't do it because it just doesn't agree with my body. I'll get like snotty and like I feel
Mucus.
Same. It builds the mucus in.
Yeah, it gets the mucus going, and then I might get a cold or something, especially in winter. Like I won't even like in summer, I'll eat pizza or something, but in winter, And I try really hard to eat seasonally. You know, like in terms of fruit and you know vegetables, just to eat things that are seasonal. Like I'm not going for summer fruits in the winter. Like in the winter, I'm not going to eat a banana. Hell no. But I would say that my favorite fruit is the papaya.
Oh, papayas are excellent.
Papaya, and they're great for shakes.
John really likes papayas in the shakes. He said it to me like 5 times this week.
I really love papaya, and that I probably love papaya more than anyone you've ever met.
Wow.
You know how I can prove it?
Show us. Papaya.
Papaya. I was in the
Okay.
jungle in Costa Rica, sitting out in the middle of the jungle, and this guy showed up with a tattoo gun. He's like, "Let me give you a tattoo," and just checking on that. And I was like, and I had been sitting. I love papayas. And I was sitting like at papaya. I was like half naked. I don't know, I was just like in my underwear or whatever. And I've just been like pigging out on papayas, like for sitting in the jungle. They're all over my face, my body. And I was like, write papaya on me. And first he went, I said, do it right here. And he did it right here. And you see that little dot?
Yeah.
Right there?
Yeah.
That was as far as it got. It got there. And I said, and I like, it didn't like any tattoos hurt, but it didn't hurt that bad. For some reason, I kept having like a nervous twitch. Like every time he put the needle to my thing, my skin went like, and finally I was like, just don't do it. Just do it right here. So I just have that little spot right there. And at the time, I was dating this girl named Toby, and I came home and told her it was a T because T for her. Yeah.
Had to sell her a dream, man. What was I gonna ask you? One of our homies that was on the live just asked, "What's your favorite food memory, solo or with the guys with the band?"
Well, with so many with the guys, you know, because God, we've been together nearly, I think that's 37 years. We've been a band.
Since '83, right?
Yeah, since we played our first show in February of '83. I got to get this pen. We've had, you know, we travel around the world. We've been on tour for, you know, all of my adult life. I've been on the road, and there's so many food memories of, you know, just incredible dishes, like going to countries for the first time, like going to Brazil for the first time, or going to Chile or Argentina for the first time, or Paris, or all these places that, like, growing up, like being a street kid, running on the street, like I never dreamed I would go. You know, when I first went to Japan, it's like, you might as well have sent me to Pluto. You know, it was just like, I'm on another planet, you know?
We love it out there.
Yeah, I mean, amazing. That food, incredible, like incredible. But one of the things that I remember the most is when we first started touring, and we just toured in a van. And I'm just turning down the flame there on the beans. We just toured in a van, and, you know, we ate at truck stop. Well, the beans they're just beans there. We eat at truck stops. It's really bad food. You know, we're all in a van with all our equipment, driving up all night, having to sit up, you know, just sitting in there, just smoking weed, you know. And we used to end up eating the worst food. Like, go into these you know, truck stops and diners, and they just have the worst food. And at one point, like on our first ever trip to to London, you know, it was time to go on stage, and our equipment hadn't arrived. This was this is a little bit later. We had all rental equipment, and the guy was in a van driving all the, you know, the amps and rental equipment and stuff, and he didn't show up. And then we get this phone call that he had crashed. He had fallen asleep on the highway, the road, and crashed, and he was fine, but he wasn't going to get there with the equipment. And Hillel, rest in peace, our original guitar player, beautiful guy, passed away in 1988. He said, he kind of made this joke. He said, he was like imagining, and you know, it's our first time in England, and we were just tripping, right? Like everyone's speaking English accents, and it was all so funny to us. And he did this imitation of the guy crashing. He was like driving. He went, "Blimey," and like, you know, I was head down on the steering wheel, and like mimed crashing. And then I can't remember, it was like a couple of months later, we were like somewhere in like the middle of Ohio or something in the winter. We're starving. We pull over, and the food. We got this food, and it was like, I think it was turkey with gravy, but it was like shoe leather with insecticide sauce. That's how it was described. And like eating it, was like, and Hillel went, he just kind of looked at everybody and went, "Blimey." Face first into the food.
Oh my God.
And I really let his face crash into the plate. And he came up, and it was all over his face. And of course, we're laughing and hysterics and shit. And it became this thing that we did whenever food was bad. Someone would do a blimey into the food, and it went on for years. And we even did it like we started like making money, like eating in fancy places, and someone would do it just to get a laugh, you know. Have to throw a nice plate of spaghetti and just be like, "Blimey." And you always have to let your fate, like the dead weight of your head, smash into the food, and you know, that was pretty good. So those are food experiences. But that's a great story.
Beautiful story.
Too much. I really got to get the garlic and onions.
Let's make it pop. Let's make it pop. We saw you chopped up the tomatoes as well, so you're gonna have a nice body to whatever sauce you're gonna have.
Totally. And I think I'm gonna put in a pinch of cayenne too to give it a little spice.
I was gonna say, you gotta have a little red hot chili pepper in there, man.
Absolutely, absolutely. And then I'm gonna the magic ingredient with all like pepper, salt, the basil, thyme, cayenne, garlic, onions, like these real savory elements, a little bit of maple syrup. A little bit of real maple syrup is going to really give it, I've discovered, gives it a real beautiful, doesn't make it sweet, but just gives it like a depth.
A little bit of balance, brings all those flavors
yeah.
together. The acid from the tomatoes and, you know,
Right.
and all the seasonings from the beans that you cooked them in is going to be real nice.
Yeah, so I'm using avocado oil to heat the pan here. And just let this heat up a little bit. Now, you know, I use avocado oil because, and you guys would know more about this than me, but avocado oil, it doesn't get, it can handle the heat, right?
Yeah, it's got a high smoke point.
High smoke point.
Olive oil, when it gets real hot, it's like a carcinogen.
Yeah. Coconut too. If it gets too hot, it's.
Yeah, coconut's good, right? It's healthy.
Coconut is a lower smoke point than avocado, though. But it's good. But it's like if you heat it too, it burns fast.
Right. Okay. But avocado oil is good, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm gonna sweat this garlic.
Got to sweat that garlic out. Garlic in first. Garlic has got the least amount of moisture. So when you add garlic, garlic has got the least amount of moisture out of everything that you're cooking with. So you add the garlic first so that you can cook it up. So when you add the onions, the celery, the tomatoes, they've got a lot of water in them, so they leach out, and you won't be able to get as much caramelization or flavor out of the garlic if you were to add them all in together. So.
Oh, okay. So do the garlic alone.
Yeah. No, you're doing the right techniques.
Okay, that's what I normally do. It just seems like it operates on a different time.
Yep, sure does.
So you got the good natural instincts, man. You got the natural feel.
Yeah, thank you guys.
So how you when you make these black eyed peas, you just eat them alone, or do you serve them with any components on the side, any accoutrements?
Yeah, well, rice. I have them with rice, and usually just kind of beans and rice. Like
nice.
My daughter's in the other room doing online school right now, but if she was here, she'd tell you she had this like 3 days a week growing up. So I make a big old pot, and we'd have it all the time.
Stretch the work, man.
Gotta stretch the work.
Yeah, and even though like I eat meat, not a lot of it, but I eat it. But she's never had tasted an animal in her whole life. She had a fish a couple of times. So she's a vegetarian because when she was little, I was a vegan, and someone gave me a book, and I was like super into it. And someone gave me a book for little kids about factory farming that it really explained what it was, And when she was like 3 or whatever, she read that, and she had never eaten meat, but then she understood what that really hit home with her and resonated with her powerfully. And she'll never eat it. She just won't ever eat it. So
that's blessed. Well, she'll live a long time. So she won't be running into a lot of the issues that people run into in our country with, with high blood pressure and diabetes and all that stuff. So.
Yeah, I think being a vegetarian, you have to be really conscious about what you eat and eat it right. It's not always like that, but in general, I think it's just like it's out of balance, man. It's just out of balance. Like I think it is natural for a human being to kill an animal and eat it, and animals kill each other and eat them. But the balance of the way that it's done with the factory farming and the slaughterhouses and all that shit, like I think if everyone really understood and looked at what was happening, they just wouldn't eat it.
Yeah.
That's a fact. Go to an animal farm. That changed our life. I know John and I went to a farm one time, to a pig farm in
Italy, and it was
crazy.
Yeah,
it's hard to watch.
Oh, you guys went to one?
Yeah, we went to a pig farm in Concordia in Italy, in Emilia Romagna, and that was my first time to a pig farm, and it was
gnarly.
It was hard to see. It was hard to see, and honestly, I don't eat pork anyways, but like that kind of just solidified all my reasoning behind it.
Right. And was that and probably if it was a pig farm in Italy, I bet it was relatively, like compared to a lot of them, humane.
Yep.
Yeah, it's probably better.
It's
probably way better than one like in the States.
There's just like, and it's unsanitary. It's nasty, man. Nasty looking.
All right, so boom, you cook the garlic down. You added it to this. You added it to the stewed
Put the garlic
beans.
in. Yeah, I sweat the garlic, and I was chatting. I'm a little worried that this onion had a little bit of green in the middle, so I'm taking that out, that bitter part.
Yep.
Yeah, it's different to do this and talk because I never do. I never do.
You're doing a good job though. You're doing a good job, and you have a great videographer on your side. You know.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, good. She's doing good.
Yeah,
She's doing amazing.
The angles are on point.
Mel, they want to see the rat tail. The people are asking to see the rat tail.
Oh yeah, well, it's just starting.
It's more like a bunny tail right now.
Yeah,
Bunny tail.
Bunny tail.
We're getting to the rat.
And I don't know, like I've kind of been thinking, like I've been on the fence about whether to continue with it all the way. Because we were right before me and Mel went to Thailand, and we were in the airport, and you know, it was in the airport in Thailand when I saw that little boy, and there was this little boy running around. He must have been like 4 years old or something, and he was really cool looking. And he had a long rat tail braided really well, like this beautiful braid coming out of the back of his head, and then just like a mohawk, but just like a circle of hair on top, like a circle of hair, and it looked so cool. And I was like, I'm biting that kid's rhyme. Like,
that sounds sick.
Shout out to that
yeah,
kid.
so that's what inspired me.
With the drip.
It might be a circle of hair on top too, but my receding hairline might have something to say about that.
But it actually might play into the style better though, you know.
It might. Like I can just keep this circle right here, you know.
Yeah, you just keep it natural.
Yeah, like Ronaldo, the Brazilian soccer player.
Please don't give him ideas.
No, I've done that before. I like that.
Yo, you pull up with the Ronaldo, the original Ronaldo too, not the Portuguese one. You talk about the Brazilian Ronaldo,
Yeah,
number
the
9.
Brazilian Ronaldo, not the Portuguese, not Christian Ronaldo. I don't know, but one time we were playing in Brazil, and the promoters gave me the shirt, a Brazilian national team, and the Brazilian national team is my favorite soccer team, outside of La Boca in Argentina, which is my favorite soccer team.
Wow.
But and I'm speaking ahead of myself. Sheffield United is my number 1 soccer team. But before I discovered Sheffield United, and I really love the Brazilian soccer. Anyways, they gave me a Brazilian team shirt that says Flea on the back, and I had that little hair thing. I wore it for like 2 months. I didn't take that thing off.
Amazing.
Okay, so I'm sweating the onions here.
Mel, get up on that pen, Mel. Don't be afraid.
Just sweating the onions. You know, possible is a little bit too much of the avocado oil in here, but that's okay. Avocado oil never hurt anybody.
It's okay. You could add the celery. You can add the other vegetables to it as well if you feel like you have too much oil in there, because they'll soak up.
Yeah, I was thinking I was going to take the onions out though, because I don't want to I want them to cook in the beans too.
Heard you.
You know, I'm just going to give them like about a little, maybe 30 seconds more. Then I'm going to get them going. You know what we should really do? I have this friend, my friend Joel, who I grew up with, and he's a Parisian dude, but he's from the island of Guadeloupe, and he's been in LA for a long time. And anyways, when we were kids, we lived together, and we used to play music together. And he makes a paella, and once in a while he'll come over here and make a paella that is kind of the greatest food I've ever had in my life. And he does it totally by instinct, and he loves it, and he likes just throwing food all over the place, and he's loud and wild, and I don't know, you guys should get him on, I'm telling you.
That'd be sick.
Yeah, make the link.
Yeah, I'd be his sous chef. Yeah,
definitely link that up. We probably gonna end up turning this into like a book or some type of digital project, a compilation of everybody's recipes.
Yeah, I got these carrots. I forgot about these carrots. Let me just peel a few carrots real quick. Where's the peeler at?
In there.
Carrots in there.
Little mirepoix.
Yeah, and it's kind of a mirepoix, right? With
Yep.
celery and
Celery, carrots, and onions.
You know what I've been making lately that's been coming out really good is I've been making fish soup.
You were saying it. You did that the day before Mel did her episode. So yeah, this fish soup. What's the deal with this famous fish soup?
Yeah, I was really proud of that one, and I never made it before, and just kind of went for it. And then I realized, because I was just taking, carrots and celery and onions, and sauteing them and then making a vegetable broth, just thinking, well, that would make a good broth. And then someone told me that's what a mirepoix is. Is that right?
Yes, the mirepoix is celery, carrots, and onion. That's like the holy trinity in French cooking. It's like the same way that there's a sofrito and Latin cuisines.
Okay.
So and in different countries, everybody's got like their different bases, but typically in French cooking, it's celery, carrots, and onion.
Okay. Wow, that's cool.
And then New
I made
Orleans
something.
is
I
celery,
made celery,
bell
carrots,
pepper,
and
and
have it on the side of
I
something.
think.
Was that when I made that tofu? When I fried that tofu?
No, it was something else.
And it was good. Like, I didn't even make a stew with it. I just used it as like a side dish. Like it wasn't a broth. It was just celery, carrots, and onion, like a little sauteed pile of them.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna put the carrots and the celery in together. You think that's good?
Yeah, that's proper.
Okay. Probably I'm a little bit behind time-wise right now.
look, we're enjoying this quality time with you.
Oh, good.
So can we talk a little bit about music?
Yeah, you can ask me anything.
So on the music side, I think I probably mentioned to you that I had a period in my life where your music saved my life and probably saved a lot of other people when I was in the streets. It stopped me from committing egregious acts of violence because I was just grooving to like the mellow sounds of you, Chad, Anthony, and John. And now John is back on deck, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I think the world is super excited about that.
Yeah. We're all real excited about it too. I'm a little bit hesitant to get into band stuff just because, like we decide that, we're in the creative process of writing a record, even though we're taking a little break right now because of the coronavirus. We've been playing every day all together, and been very an uplifting experience. And now we're just taking a little bit of break. We're gonna come back, but kind of like I always just feel like when talking about the band, I kind of like there's a time to do it, and a time not to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't really get into it because I know there's probably Chili Pepper fans on right now. I know they're all curious and they want to know everything.
Right, somebody just asked what you thought about Trick Finger.
Trick Finger? Oh, I love Trick Finger.
So Trick Finger is John's new album.
It's a electronic music that he makes. Trick Finger is not first Trick Finger album.
Oh.
But Trick Finger's awesome. John and Marcy, John's partner, they have started a record label together, and the first release is Trick Finger record. So I love Trick Finger. I love the hypnotic rhythms. John is so amazing, with electronic music, and it's completely hypnotic and imaginative and exciting, and I love everything about it.
What's the soundtrack like for your house when you guys wake up in the morning? What do you go to in the morning?
What am I? What in the morning?
Like, what do you play in the morning? Like, what sort of music do you wake up and listen to?
It's always different. I usually like kind of gentle music in the morning. And and also that's probably because I like to get up really early. Even though I've kind of been in a weird rhythm lately, but I usually get up before everyone else, so I play quiet music so I don't wake anyone up. But I really like Bach, so I listen to Bach in the morning, like Glenn Gould playing, the Bach on the piano. I'm a huge jazz fan, as anyone that knows anything about me knows. And I listen to, the great jazz musicians like John Coltrane or, Hank Mobley or Freddie Hubbard or, but kind of like contemplative music in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
But every once in a while I'll get up and I'll just blast like Black Flag or Wu-Tang Clan or something really aggressive. If I'm getting ready to go on a run or whatever, I'm just in that kind of a mood,
Mm-hmm.
So,
You run a lot? Do you run a lot?
I go through times when I do, and when I do run a lot, I'm happy. The last, I had been feeling kind of crappy for a few days and wasn't really running. And the last 2 days, I did these really big runs. There's just these trails I know up here in Malibu, and everything's closed off. But I know some places where they're kind of secret spots. You can go run in the mountains and get lost in these mountain trails. And yesterday, it was a close friend of mine's birthday, and he loves to run too. We just went on this long ass run through the mountains yesterday morning.
Nice.
And,
Took the dogs with me.
The meditative aspect of that for me is really profound. Like,
yeah, I find it easier to run with a partner than to run by yourself.
Oh yeah, well, I like by myself too. I like both. But it's a great, like when you're with somebody who you like and you're like really in that nature solitude and running and there's no one around.
Tell them about that book you read, how you didn't run until later.
Oh yeah, well I'd always been like growing up. I played basketball. It was my main exercise growing up, and then it wasn't until I'm 57, and when I was in my I was like mid 40s or late 40s even. I read this book. Okay, so we got the carrots, the celery, the onions, the garlic, the salt, the pepper, the basil, the thyme, the bay leaf in here.
The maple syrup.
I haven't put the maple syrup in yet. I'm going to put some of that in a minute, and I'm going to put the rice on too.
All right, bet.
Yeah.
What about the greens?
What?
Greens.
Oh yeah, the greens. Yeah. Well, we'll put the rice on, then we'll get the greens. No, the greens are a huge part. But anyways, I read this really great book, and I wish that I wasn't. If I was a little sharper, I would tell you the author's name, but I can't remember it right now. Called Born to Run. And in this book, the guy kind of theorized that the reason that Homo sapiens outlasted Neanderthals was because we run. Because Neanderthals were smarter, they had bigger brains, they were physically stronger, but they were like kind of short and squat, and Homo sapiens was tall and could run long distances. And because we could run down prey, like you could chase a gazelle for, 3 hours, even if you sprint fast, eventually you're going to wear it down, it's going to collapse with exhaustion, you can kill it and eat it. So we could run and hunt food because we ran. That's why Homo sapiens survived and Neanderthals died out. I think there's other reasons too, like Homo sapiens we're kind of manipulative and have like a mean quality to our manipulations that we could outthink them in that way, even though they were more sincere and earnest. I'm putting in the maple syrup. Always real maple syrup, never sugar, fake maple syrup. So a little bit of that.
Is that from Vermont or Canada? And also the name of the author of that book is Christopher.
What's that?
The name of the author is Christopher McDougall.
That's right, Christopher McDougall. This is from Vermont.
That's good. That's my favorite
Family
maple
Farms
syrup.
in Vermont.
That's my favorite maple syrup. Is from Vermont.
Oh, that's your favorite, Coombs?
Yeah, I like Vermont maple syrup over anywhere else, to be honest.
Oh yeah, okay, cool. It's amazing stuff. Okay, so we got the spices in there. And what we're gonna
recap what you're making.
I'm making black-eyed peas. I'm making black-eyed peas. We soaked the peas, we simmered the peas, we put in the garlic, the celery, carrots, onions. Sometimes I use bell pepper too. I'll put in some bell pepper, saute some bell pepper. And oftentimes it's whatever I've got. Whatever vegetables are around, like there's some beet greens in the fridge.
Okay.
But luckily here in this house, I'm going to put the rice on, bring it to a boil, put it on simmer. Then we're going to go out into the garden and pick some greens.
Wow.
Because we have some greens going in the garden. So
we like that.
Yeah, I love that, man. It's been like the greatest blessing is having a garden. And I have bees too. I'm making honey. I got hives.
Amazing.
Yeah, I got to send you guys some.
Please, we
Honey's
love
honey,
it. We'll make something special with the honey.
Yeah. It's really great honey. Right, Mo?
Yo, and if you guys got a yard at your house, you know what I'm saying? Utilize that space right now. Utilize that time that you have. Go outside, plant something, grow something, get a little closer to the food, and, know where everything comes from. There's nothing more rewarding than growing something from the soil and then, actually cooking it and consuming it. It's a very rewarding feeling,
It's
Yeah,
also actually really grounding to like put your hands into the dirt.
Right.
It's really important, like especially for those people that have anxiety or suffer with, you know, like depression and stuff. It's actually been physically proven that putting your hands into the dirt is like a real grounding thing for your health and your body.
Literally
I think,
and figuratively.
It makes sense. It makes sense. Mel with the
sure,
isms.
like walking in bare feet in the dirt. And the beach, just like nature.
On that Rick Rubin, so your feet don't feel blinded with the shoes and the socks. You know, you're really connected to the. You're really
That's
connected.
so funny
You're
that
really
you mentioned
connected
Rick
to the earth.
because I remember, like,
he
you know,
came to our wedding with sandals on.
that's so funny that you say that. You guys know Rick?
Nah, not
We haven't
personally.
met him. We haven't met him.
Oh, okay. Well, you know, I've worked. Rick's made like 5 or 6 Chili Pepper albums. I spent a lot of time with that guy, and I remember him learning that. Like, he's been a guy that's always had a quest for his health to, you know, to get his health in a good place. And I remember it's like someone telling him that it was important because he was such a city boy. You know, he's like a New York guy, he was sitting in his dorm, college dorm, making hip hop records, inventing, like being a part of inventing hip hop, making those first Run DMC records and LL Cool J records and stuff.
Beastie Boys, all that.
Yeah, all of that. And he was kind of like out of touch with nature and his body. And someone told him that he needed to walk in bare feet on the dirt. And he's right. They were right. Whoever told him that was right. Okay, so we have some brown rice.
Somebody just asked you who your favorite modern rapper is.
My favorite modern rapper, Kendrick.
Facts.
Good choice. I saw you shout out Thundercats album that just dropped too on your Instagram.
Oh man, I probably should clean this rice, but I'm not. Yeah, the new Thundercat record is great. I really like that song. I like all of it, and every song like occupies its own space, which I think is the key to a good record. You can't repeat yourself. You know, like you might have like even songs that are better than the ones that you use. The fact that each song on an album takes up its own space. You don't have like 3 songs. Oh, because these all might be hits because they're really good and they could be hits. So I'm gonna put them on. I just don't respect it. I'm like, every song should have its own emotional color to it, you know? And I love that about Thundercat's record. Like, he has that kind of intelligence, you know. Well, I don't know if he's thinking it through or not, but anyways, he has this one song called I Love Lewis Cole. And I love Lewis Cole too, so it really got me. Like, when I was 46, I went to college for a year. And I never went to college, you know, when I was a kid. And I'd never studied music academically, and I wanted to. So I went for a year to USC and studied music. And, you know, I had this composition class, theory class, jazz trumpet class. And I was, you know, I did whatever I did in the class. I loved it. It was crazy. Like, there were times I'm like running across campus. Like, I'm late to class. I'm like running around with like big bag of books and shit. And I was like, God, I could be sitting on a beach in like, you know, Central America, like tires and smoking weed. And I'm like running to get to this place. What's the matter with me? But it was really rewarding.
Who's
you know?
Lewis Cole?
Lewis Cole, there's a band called Knower, Knower, and who toured with the Chili Peppers a bunch a few years ago. And I just loved this band, like really progressive, interesting, great music. And Lewis Cole has his own music too, Lewis Cole. He's a drummer. He's a phenomenal drummer. And so it turned out that Lewis Cole was in that class with me. Like, I never met him. He never introduced me. But I remember there were these 2 like guys kind of in the corner of the class who were just kind of weird and always making little jokes. And I could tell they were like really on their own trip, but I was, you know, on my own trip. I never but then I'm on tour with this band. He's like, yeah, we were in the class with you at USC. So I mean, you know, they were at the age to be at college, and I was like the weird old guy in the class, you know.
What was the class?
That class was composition.
Okay.
Music.
Yeah, music composition.
Dope.
Yeah. I gotta put another cup of water in the
Do your thing. Speaking about books and tripping, your book that you just released, Acid for the Children.
Yeah.
Dropped in 2019 in November. Tell us about the book.
The book is
New York Times bestseller, #1 on the LA Times.
#1.
yeah, as Melody's mother said, #1.
Big up yourself. Big up yourself.
Yeah. You know, it was a book that I
Go
wrote
get
by
greens.
what?
Go get greens.
Wait, I gotta wait till the rice
okay,
boils
right.
first, because then it's gonna boil. We're gonna be out there. The book, you know, when I started writing it, I didn't know what it was gonna be, and once I got going, and once I found my voice as a writer, which took a little while too. The only thing I knew when I started was that I was going to be honest no matter what. Like, no matter how bad I looked or good I looked, I didn't care. I was just going to be honest. And that I would write it by myself, no ghostwriter, no one else. It had to be my voice. So I started with those two simple rules. And once I got going, at a certain point, I really found my voice as a writer. And I really fell in love with the act of writing. Like, I would just so you start throwing in the tomatoes. I'm throwing in the tomatoes.
Do it.
Make it pop.
So as you can see here, and we can go back and talk about my book too, but we got the tomatoes. See, it's starting to look real colorful in here. It's starting to get live.
Yup.
You know, the vegetables have been in there for a while. There's sweat. The broth is probably pretty tasty right now. Everything is just feeling good. There's the bay leaf doing its magic. Everything is releasing its properties into this broth. Slowly simmering, the garlic, the flavor, the maple syrup, the salt, the pepper. Well, I'm going to put in that pinch of cayenne real quick.
Oh yeah.
Let's get it.
A lot of body to that sauce right now. It's coming together real nice. It looks good.
Just a little cayenne, because as you know, a little goes a long way. And I have personally fucked up a pot of beans with too much cayenne before. Not for me, because I like it spicy, but my daughter wasn't having it.
Get the digestive system working. Keep the immune system up.
Yeah, give it a little edge.
Make you sweat.
Yep. And that, you know, and that just that tang, man. That little bite.
It's necessary.
It's an adventurous spice, cayenne. It's adventurous. So anyways, so I wrote this book, and once I got going and I started writing, I decided to just make it about, like, originally I was just going to write about the Red Hot Chili Peppers. I thought that's what people care about. And, you know, it's an interesting story, and my relation to it, my personal relationship to the band and the career, and you know, my beloved friends that I'd made it with. You know, it's good. I'm going to write about it. And then once I got going, I kind of started, you know, I started writing about my childhood. And, you know, like your childhood, there's all these memories that you have. They're kind of vague, you know, they're like the things that you remember from when you're 4 years old, but they're like these fleeting images, feelings. They're like sort of like in the distance, and they're murky.
It's like a faded picture.
Like a faded picture, exactly. Like something you can kind of, and I started like finding beauty in writing about something that I didn't even really remember, but just what I did remember, and just like a bit of a memory and a feeling and a color kind of, and like trying to like just be poetic about that. And then as I started doing that, I would write about it in this poetic way, and then like it triggered these memories that started coming back that were really lucid and really clear. And when I started writing about those, it became a real opening for me in learning about myself, because I started remembering things about my childhood I didn't remember, and having feelings that I don't know that I'd ever acknowledged in my entire life. And I started learning about myself, and it became this like journey of discovery for me. And sharing myself, it became, I was sharing myself with myself, you know. And in that process of learning was for me something really profound, you know.
Also realizing that the whole band was based on all those things you went through, right?
Yeah, and so I end it where the band starts, and in that time, like going up to that period, like people often ask, okay, the rice is ready to go on simmer. Where's the top? The rice boiled, putting it on simmer, top on. That's going to take a half hour. This is simmering. We're going to go out to the yard and get the greens.
Let's go see the garden.
Okay, come on. Anyway, so, you know, so people always ask, like, how is it, you know, you like, how does the band do what the band does? Like, what's the deal? And the real truth of it is that, like, for me, you know, there's a million things in a band, and longevity and and craftsmanship and dedication, all that stuff that it takes to keep something going, like the basic, like rolling up your sleeves and getting to work all the time. But the core of it, the magic spark of it, was really born of a friendship of guys that met and ran around in the street all wild and didn't have much, and was born of this like relationship where we had nothing but each other, and we were each other's family. We all came from broken homes. None of us had much, you know, and we loved each other. And that's something that then we started this band, like just kind of as a lark, and what seemed, you know, was just like natural. It's all that childhood stuff. Like that's the magical core, what made it what it is. Like even when we don't get along, or you know, we're going through hard times or whatever, there's always this thing, you know, from like their childhood. It's powerful stuff. So for me, it's really was the magic ingredient of what gave the band its longevity and its power, as well as, you know, all the things that happened, a million things happened. You know, John Frusciante came, Hillel died, all this stuff happened. But yeah, that's what I got to say about that. I wrote a book.
That's it.
About my
That's
childhood.
amazing.
That's a beautiful story, man. It's how long did it take you from start to finish to complete the book?
Well, it took me about hey Raj, there's Raj. It's Melody's brother.
Yo,
Shooting baskets.
shooting some hoops.
What's up? What's up?
Shooting hoops, yeah.
I ain't playing no ball, man.
Yeah, that's one thing I've been doing during the quarantine lockdown, is working on my jump shot.
Yo, hit a jumper for us when you come back, man. We want to see that spat.
Yeah. Well, I completely reinvented my shot. I don't know if I'm ready. I'll do it.
This is the pathway to success right now.
They really, the people are loving the onesie too, man. We might lose them for a little bit because a lot of times it's service in the garden. Ooh.
Got those good charred.
There's this kale is really good.
And he got a full situation.
You got a farm.
Kind of sweet. I'm gonna get some of this.
No, I think it's cutting out a little. There's dinosaur kale there.
Okay. It always gets a little spicy for the garden scenes.
A little bit more of this.
What's that tree that you're standing next to?
This one? This big thing?
Yeah.
I don't even know.
Yeah.
You know, my friend.
It's a tomato.
No, it's not tomato.
It's not? It looks like it.
Hey, JK. What's this big ass plant right here? What's this big tree plant? This?
Oh, yeah.
That's a sunflower? I got my friend.
Looks like Jack and the Beanstalk. Excuse the connection. Y'all know when we go out to the garden sometimes and you lose a little Wi-Fi. Shall see how Flea's giving it up.
There's onions here, and these onions are about ready too. But I already, we used the store-bought onions. And some more of this Russian kale. I feel like we're doing good. Should I get
Life
some of
right
the
here.
yard?
I
Liddy.
think we're good.
Huh?
I think we're good.
Are you pulling me out of the yard because it's not good for the show?
No?
Mel, after we shoot this, let's maybe just get a little bit of video in the yard of him in the yard that you can just send us like regular video.
Okay.
Thank you. So and then we'll edit it into the final whatever.
Y'all stop asking if Flea grows weed, man. Feds are watching. We already know. We ain't falling for those tricks. Give him the rock with the greens in hand. Lethal shooter. I know you in here watching.
Okay, we're gonna do a one-handed green.
One-handed bandit. You know, green for the money, gold for the honey, man. I heard you got both on the property. Let's see that splash.
That green, going for I'd say this is a 23-foot one-handed shot from the baseline.
It's so pixelated, but it's like
Ah, shit. Never mind.
It's all right.
They should have
little
put me on
strong,
on
man.
ESPN.
It's all right. We appreciate the shot though. You got to shoot your shot.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, like, all my life, I've had this weird. You can see on my Instagram I was shooting. Why are you always pushing me?
Because you keep stopping.
Go in.
You know, Mel, CEO Mel. She's a really
You gotta
talented
keep shit
director.
moving. You gotta keep it moving.
You gotta keep it pushing. You gotta keep it pushing.
She's ready to eat those beans. That's what it really is.
Okay, so
She's like, yo, shit, we hungry out here, man.
I really wish I would make that shot. Okay, so what we got to do is, and things are a little messy in the sink. Sunny made a smoothie this morning, but I just got to wash these greens real quick. And the way that I do this, let me just wash my hands real quick because the ball. Well, I know Arash has got coronavirus and he had his hands on the ball, so I'm washing my hands real good.
Got to keep it clean, stay sanitized out there. Do you guys? So you guys have a big? That's a pretty large garden you have outside. How do you guys consume all the goods all the produce that you grow?
We eat it all.
Y'all make it pop.
There was a time, like right now, there's like a little guest house up there, and I have a couple of high school friends who live up there, and they hold on, let me get it. They one of them does it, and I used to have this real pro guy doing the garden, and we were really had too much food then, and it was I was giving it away, but some of it would get wasted too, and I never felt good about that. But now, like with my friend doing it, he doesn't. It's not too much. It's like and there's like always like 3 or 4 people here eat it.
Look, somebody asked if you like Persian food.
What?
Somebody asked if you like Persian food.
I have been known to eat some tahdig. I have been known to savor a gourmet sabzi. As a matter of fact, I think if you look on the stove right behind the beans right now, you'll see a pot of gourmet sabzi. I actually forced Melody to fall in love with me by cooking her a pot of gourmet sabzi. It took me about 5 or 6 hours, chopping herbs and greens, and food is definitely the way to the woman's heart.
You giving away the game right now. You're giving away a lot of free game, right?
Yeah, books and food.
What did I say about
You gotta
what
feed
you
the
did
mind,
to me?
body, and soul.
What I did to you? I can't say it. You want me to say it?
No.
You want me to say it?
What was the question? I missed it.
Oh, she's gonna ask me to say what she said, what I did to her.
I said that. No, I'm not gonna say it. It's rude.
You can say it.
No, it's rude.
No, you
No,
can
it's
say it.
unfiltered on yes, no.
It's rude for me to say it if you say it's not rude. Say what you said.
No.
Say it. You guys hanging on the edge now.
Oh, yeah. Well, it is questionably one of those things that could be taken the wrong way.
So Flea, today is actually Hillel's birthday.
You know what? I know that. And so that's nice that we talked about him a little bit. He was a beautiful guy, and This is how I do this with the greens. I just tear them up and put them in there.
Hold up, Mel, do us a favor. Leave the live and come back because it's still a little blurry like how we were in the garden.
Okay.
Making it
All right, we'll be right back. They'll be right back.
Give us a couple seconds, yeah.
Just hold it down for a minute.
Y'all feeling this episode though?
All right, here they come.
Yeah, there we go.
Hopefully that works. Gets us a little clearer.
Yo, Side,
A-Side, what's up? All right, our only A-Side just tuned in. A-Side, if you got any crazy questions, send them because we know you the knowledge guy. All right, we back, and we in high definition.
Okay, so this is how I do it. I just kind of tear the greens up and put them in there. I don't, sometimes I chop them, but I just kind of, and I used to cook the stems, and then someone told me to stop cooking the stems once, and I stopped. But I kind of miss them.
Yeah, you can eat
the stems. The stems will give you that like nice crunch like that. I always in collard greens. I enjoy the stems. The stems are my favorite part in collard greens.
The tender stems are good. Like you don't want to eat like the big stalky stem at the bottom, but like the stem throughout the green is good.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and I usually, if it's just me, I just throw the stem in. I like the crunchy stem.
Oh yeah, this is about to be like a serious plate of food right now.
So Flea,
when you finish Russian kale is good. This stuff.
Ooh, that looks good.
Yeah, I use it a lot too. Like I'll just make big raw salads, and with the greens, I'll just go out and grab a bunch of greens like this. Just I'll massage them, and I'll just like do this to them. Put them in a big bowl, massage them in olive oil, and just put some salt, lemon juice, either Bragg's amino acids. Oh, I didn't put any of that in. I'm gonna put some in here in the last minute. Bragg's amino acids or soy sauce, garlic, like pressed garlic, and put it in with the greens. Just have it raw like that. I love that.
That's the way.
When I do that I'm the healthiest man on earth.
Definitely. Longevity. The Bragg's also makes a that aminos that you're talking about. They make a coconut aminos that's super tasty.
Right. Bragg's is good, right? It's a good company.
Yeah, they do good stuff. I like the aminos. We use them often.
Yeah. So anyways, it's Halal's birthday today. And Halal's, he's the person that asked me to start playing the bass. And he was a magical human being. And I miss him very much. It's crazy. He died in 88. And, he changed my life forever. Because of him, it will never be the same. And he's a huge part of who I am, a pillar of my heart. And everything that I do, he's always there, always in my thoughts, always in my heart, always in my memories.
Big love to him.
Our angels stay with us, man.
Yeah, man. It's incredible. It's crazy when, I don't know if you guys lost anyone, like, friends your own age when you're young.
Absolutely.
Through unfortunate circumstances. But
absolutely.
But it's crazy, like, because as you get older and you kind of like figure stuff out, and as you made mistakes, you've done things that hurt yourself, hurt other people, like, and you want to grow and evolve as a human being, and then you it's like, they never got a chance to do that. You know what I mean? They didn't get to, and what they would have become, because all the potential and all the glow that they had inside if it just needed to get, you grow up, you figure things out, especially when, like me and most of my friends, we didn't have that, strong parents there, like guiding us and showing us, and we had to kind of figure it out on our own. And that's just kind of one of the hardest things when I think like, what, how would he have dealt with this? What would he have done about that? But, I'm more just in a place of gratitude for having him the time that I had him.
It's a beautiful story, man.
Definitely.
To have those memories.
Yeah. So we just put the greens in. And
I'm so hungry. My stomach is rumbling right now.
Yeah,
I'm hungry too.
Today was leg day and I didn't eat yet. So.
Yeah, you see this in here? Can you guys have a good picture of it? Okay, look. So you got the beans, carrots, onions, and now we just put in these fresh greens from the garden.
Wow.
And you don't want to cook greens too long. I mean, I know like you cook them and they become like a broth and stuff, but I like them like just cooked. You know what I mean? Like I feel like when they're still
they still got a little bounce to them.
Yeah, they still have a bounce. I feel like I'm getting these really good
Joel just sang.
ingredients. Joel just came on. Joel was talking about his paella.
Joel, we need to get you on the episode.
Yeah, we've been hearing about this paella. You gotta show us what's popping.
Yeah, he's on there. Bobo, are you there? Is he there?
He just came on. Yeah, he can't. He's
Oh, well, I was talking about your paella because we're doing this cooking show. Anyways, he's the one. The rice is going over here. It's got a little while to go, but it's weird. I got this because the normal rice that I get, they didn't have, and I got this bulk rice, and it kind of cooks like it doesn't need as much water for some reason. So I have the other last rice got a little overcooked. So I'm gonna check it in a minute. I might have to drain out some of the water.
We might be sending you some appliances this fall when we drop our collection, and one of them would be like something that you could cook rice in, so you could just set it and forget it.
Oh, no, oh, really? Like a rice cooker?
Yeah.
But it's like it's like a multi-functional cooker, but one of the settings is to cook rice.
Oh, cool. I used to use a rice cooker all the time, just like a regular Japanese rice cooker. But the problem was I'd be like, oh, I'm going to make this rice and I'm going to eat it. And let's make a whole bunch and fill up this huge thing of rice. And I would end up wasting so much rice because I would like eat it and then forget about it or like leave for 2 days or something. And I'd come back and there'd be all this rice sitting there getting stale, But anyway, these beans, like for all intents and purposes, are done. I'm turning off the flame. The greens will cook in here. They don't need much more. And once the rice is done, I think we should prepare a bowl, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And would you mind taking like the picture that you send us of you holding the bowl of beans? Can you take it in your garden?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And we took the liberty of naming your dish, man.
Oh,
we calling it black-eyed fleas, man.
Black-eyed fleas. I like it.
Because you hit them with the steez, man. So we gotta call it the black-eyed fleas. It's only right.
And we won't hold you guys up for too much longer. We appreciate your time.
Yeah, thank you.
Mel, you snapped with the camera work. You have another profession. You got another future, bright future ahead of you. Everything doesn't work out.
Should I give these little tastes real quick?
Yeah.
We need to know if it's edible or not.
The one thing I'm concerned about is that I was cautious with the salt and pepper, and I might have been a little too cautious, but I'm just going to taste a little bit of the broth and bean.
But the good thing is you can always add more salt. You can never take it away when it's too much.
Absolutely. I'm just
going
to
see your
cool
face
down a little bit, and then for a final statement, I'm going to let you know how this is. This has some beans, some tomatoes, some greens, some onion. Might have a piece of garlic in there.
Just don't say blimey at the end.
No, I'm not going to blind me into a boiling pot of beans. That would not go well. But I'm telling you, man, the blimey was incredible. Huh?
I said you have to show everybody how good it is.
Well, I mean, if it's good, I'm going to let you know. I'm honest. You heard that when I said about Mel's cookies last week.
It's like when you're writing a book. I'm not going to tell any lies, man. I'm going to tell the truth.
I will not tell a lie. All right.
That's good.
Incredible.
All right. So since it's incredible and edible, we got to get you to do the gastronomical sign-off. Just tell the people who you are and that you are on Gastronomical Cribs.
Wait, tell them what?
Tell them who you are. So basically, like, I'm Flea, and I just finished doing my thing on Gastronomical Cribs.
Okay. I'm Flea, and I'm happy and proud to be here today on Gastronomical Cribs, sharing food, sharing love, food, which is the ultimate love. And thanks for having me.
Thank you for
Much
being
love,
here, yo.
Flea. Can't wait till we can all get together and we can break bread and beans, rice and beans
Absolutely.
on the scene, man. And
Yeah,
Mel, thank you.
this
We
summer,
love you.
This summer, you guys got to come out here and we'll hang and cook and
Shoot
I'll have
hoops.
a more improved basketball shot.
We'll be in there like swimwear. Thanks again, man.
Appreciate everybody for tuning
Love
in.
you guys.
See ya.
Peace and love, y'all.
Love,
Peace
love.
and love.
Gastronomical Cribs. Gang, gang.
Gang.